For breakfast, I had actually, one sec. For breakfast, I had I actually had a baked potato that my mom made me. Last night, I wasn't very hungry because I had I had a very large meatball sandwich that morning, so I wasn't very hungry for dinner. And by the way, my face is all shiny and it looks like this because I just got out of the shower, so I have my skincare on. Um, but my parents were having baked potatoes, so uh, but my parents had cooked a baked potato, like a third baked potato anyway, to save as leftover for me to have today. But my mom had forgotten that I'm going to work with her today. And so, which was very nice of her, my mom like prepared me a baked potato this morning, which is so nice. I love my parents so much. Like, I I use so many of their services. It's a weird thing to say, but like, I'm 19. I'm turning 20 in August, right? Um, and I still live with my parents, which is pretty normal for someone my age, right? Especially here in Seattle. But I think about it a lot. Um, just how much they do for me and just like how much money they spend on me. Um, and I have my own job and I buy a vast majority of my own things now, but like, the food I eat, it's all free, right? Um, I'm just very lucky and I'm very grateful to have my parents. I love my parents. Um, I went to work today. I showed up at work at. I think I do love my parents, but I think I'm only saying that because I'm listening to Jacksepticeye's video with Dr. K, or Dr. K's video with Jacksepticeye, and Jacksepticeye, like, he had just lost his father, so I'm thinking, like, man, I love my parents. I'm so happy my parents aren't, like, dead. But anyway, and I love them too. They're great for, like, emotional support. I love talking to them. Like, I realized that I was only talking about them in a transactional sense. Hold on, I think my microphone is low. Sorry. Hey, watch out. My microphone is about to get really loud. I'm gonna hum as it goes up. Okay, I'm loud. Sorry about that. For some reason, whenever I go on Discord, it lowers my mic. Oh, maybe it's an input volume thing. I don't know what happens. Whenever I open up Discord, it brings down my voice volume, and I figured out that's the issue. Because I was like, why is OBS always low on volume all the time? And it turns out it just happens when I open Discord. I don't know why. Maybe when I switch to Wayland eventually, maybe that'll fix it, desktop portals and whatever. But anyway, what does that mean? Desktop portals and whatever. I'm so self-conscious today about what I'm saying. Anyway, yeah, I realized I was talking about my parents very transactionally. I appreciate them emotionally too. I'm not good at sort of speaking about that sort of thing. And anyway, yeah, so I come into work with my mom today. We left at about 5:30. I don't know when he showed up to work. I don't know. I don't remember. Probably sometime around 6. Probably a little before 6, frankly. And yeah, I worked. I actually didn't do too much work today, which made me feel bad. Today was pretty easy. I primarily cleaned up around the model, but I didn't clean too much behind it. It's okay because we don't even have a witness test like in between the time I'm working again, so it's not going to be too big of an issue. It just means I'm going to have to work more next Wednesday, which is my fault. But a lot of today was spent with my boss, and he was showing me we have some really, I don't know if they're fancy or not, but we have some ultrasonic sensors that we hook up to an Arduino, so then we can measure the different like water levels at different parts of the model, right? And he was just showing me how those hook up. And I have a Raspberry Pi and I have some OLED screens, and I plug in the jumper cables or whatever, and I put them into the GPIO pins right on the Raspberry Pi. But it was interesting to see it in a to see that sort of thing in a in sort of a it was interesting to see that in prod, to use a weird software term. It was cool. And I also saw us using twisted pair cables for like data cables, which is pretty interesting as well. Like I know twisted pair cables are just really just like data and power cables, really, but like, you know, I'm so used to them being used for like Ethernet, you know, that like it's weird to see them used for other things, but I know they're used everywhere. Yeah, work went pretty. We have a couple people in bringing in fish because we have fish in the model sometimes. We have a couple people who come in for testing the model with fish. And they're great guys, right? But one of the guys, he had made a mistake today where he forgot to turn off the hose into this big tub of water that we have in the back. And it had overflowed pretty considerably when he was watching the model. And I don't blame, you know, everybody makes mistakes, right? I don't really care. And it's also a wet lab. Like we work with models that have a lot of water, and we have a humongous sump with a bunch of water. So like the lab's meant to get wet. It's not a big problem that it overflowed, right? We have waterproofing on the walls, it's fine, right? I did have to vacuum up the water, and that was a pretty significant portion of today. And that's part of the reason, not to make excuses, I could have cleaned more, but that is part of the like that time could have been spent, you know, cleaning the back of the model. Who knows what I would have used it for, but presumably I would have used it for that. Cleaning more of the back of the model. Yeah, nothing else is really going on. He's a great guy though. Like, you know, everyone in that lab is smarter than me, so it's not my job to like get mad at other people for making mistakes. And my boss doesn't even do that. Like, he doesn't get mad at people for making mistakes. You know, frankly, I should, you know, the fact that I'm even talking about this in the first place shows immaturity on my part. I should have just said, I had to vacuum up some water today. You know, that's all I should have said. But instead I was like, oh, there's this guy who came in and he spilled water everywhere. Like what am I doing? But yeah, that's it. Oh, my grandma, very nicely for graduation, also gave me some money. I'm gonna save most of it. I was gonna say I'm gonna save all of it. I'm gonna save most of it. Bye-bye.